Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about His Dark Materials Season 3, the rundown review, and also episode 7 and 8, the finale. I decided just to combine all of this together instead of making like 7 and 8 episode and also a rundown review. And so, like, it's over. My God, it's finally over. I still don't understand why they decided to burn through this season so quickly with airing 2 episodes in the same night. But for whatever reason, they did. I think it would have been a whole lot cooler and a lot more epic if they would have just aired like 1 episode per week. But hey, whatever. I guess they wanted to finish the year out, and plus, nobody knows what that crazy David Zaslav man is doing. So there might not even be an HBO Max left next year. So they're like, we ain't taking no chances, man. And so finally, the conclusion of this like really interesting series I fell in love with a couple of years back. My God, it's been a good long while because it got held up because of like the virus and like other stuff, and these kids have really grown because I'm trying to figure out how old these characters are really supposed to be. Because season 1 and 2 are right back to back, and season 3 might have taken place a couple of months from season 2, but not years for how old these kids are. Because Laura literally said that like her parents basically abandoned her and wanted to be in her life 13 years later. So I'm like, hold up. Is Will and Laura really 13 years old? Old as they look. See, this is when the series should start leaping forward in time. Because there ain't no way Roger, looking like the kid he was in season 1 and like almost like a grown teenage adult, almost like in season 3 in the land of the dead. Like, that don't make no sense. And so, like, I really, really love season 1. So much cool stuff happened in season 1. It was like amazing. Season 2, while good, I still feel like it was a little lackluster only because, like, it mostly just dealt in our world and nothing really fancy happened in our world and stuff. There were still some cool parts here and there, but then season 3, and with season 3, it started off good, and it got kind of quiet in the middle and stuff, but then it kind of picked back up with like the drama. But for the most part, it's been a quiet season, and so I'm all like, come on, man, end these last 2 episodes with a banger. Like, come on, like, let's see that epic fight battle that this whole thing has been building up to. And I assumed the last 2 episodes was gonna be like a giant battle. I assumed it was gonna be like the last Harry Potter movie with the Battle of Hogwarts and everything. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. It was a little underwhelming. It was semi-epic and everything. The battle all took place in episode 7, and episode 8 was more emotional. Now, episode 8 I actually enjoyed a whole lot because of the emotional woe is me's in it. Like, it's a very sad, emotional episode and everything. And a lot of people online are crying. I'm not crying, but I am sad. And it's like, oh no, man. Like, I kind of had a feeling that might happen, but I didn't want it to happen. Like, can't people just be happy in like fantasy books? But then episode 7 is the one that really irritated me, and that's the one I thought I was gonna like for sure because it was the action episode. However, the action, like, it's funny, like, there was a battle, there was action, but really nothing really truly happened. And then, see, because I never read these series and I didn't want to read Wikipedia, I didn't want to know who's all in the battle. So I'm assuming, because of everything we knew, I assume, so this is supposed to be the big battle against Megatron. That's still a weird name. I keep thinking of the Transformer, dude. I assume because he kept talking about he's building an army, he's gonna take on this angel dude. I assume we were gonna see a massive army, and we didn't. I assume he was gathering people from that one world with the people who have like the army fatigues that are like red and green. I assume since he started interacting with those two fairy people, he was gonna have a bunch of those fairy people fighting alongside. I assumed that Will and Laura was gonna bring dead people and fight in the battle. I assumed Marissa was gonna bring the specters in and fight in the battle. I assumed that Laura was gonna get the polar bears and they was gonna fight in the battle. I assumed that Megatron was probably gonna get the Magisterium in and fight in the battle. I assumed they would get like random people from both worlds, like the Romanov people, the Gobblers, and just all kind of other people, and have them fight in the battle. And they didn't. I'm all like, you gotta be kidding me. We do see the fairy lady. But what was the point in showing her? Like all she did was stand up and they shown her. She didn't say nothing. She didn't do nothing. I have no idea if the fairy people was even fighting anybody because they're so tiny. So I'm like, what was the point? Oh, also the witches. I assume the witches. Well, the witches were in the battle, but here's the problem. The battle consisted of this. So Megatron brought like the city of heaven onto like that world, right? And that was really cool because it was in the sky. Also, the sky was getting like really dark and cloudy. So then all of a sudden, Lord Asriel was in his little flying machine, and then tons of dark angels, about 1,000 dark angels, just started popping out of nowhere. Now the dark angels are in red, so you can tell what color they are. Well, then all of a sudden, the good angels show up in like blue coloring, but it's only about 100. So it's 100 good angels versus about 1,000 bad angels. And so he's worried now because he's all like, thank God the prophecy, is completely different. So there's a new prophecy and everything. Supposedly, this was so weird about this series. This series always tells you one thing and then something completely different happens. Like they keep saying, oh, dust is like a sin and all this other stuff, but then later on it's turned out dust is actually a beautiful and a good thing. Then they talk about how Will has to get the subtle knife to Lord Asriel because the knife is the only thing that can kill Megatron. And so this is like even his dad tells him that, but his dad does, but Lord Asriel doesn't even need the knife and everything. And so now all of a sudden, apparently, Will and Laura have to be reunited with their demons, and all they have to do is get their demons in hiding, and so Megatron can't get to them, and then supposedly they can just kill him like that way or something like that. And I'm just kind of like, what the heck? What was the point in all this build about bringing a knife to Lord Asriel and all this other crap? And so I'm just like, oh man. So in a ways, all they have to do is stall. So it's all the angels they're fighting. And basically the fighting, all you see in the sky is you see Lord Asriel shooting down angels with his like laser beams and stuff from his vehicle, but you don't really see too many angels getting hit. Basically just a bunch of flickering, flattering going on in the sky. We don't even see no angels up close fighting each other or even from a faraway distance, really. They're just in the air and they're sparkling and that's about it. And there was more of a battle in episode 1 with the two angels. Then the witches show up, right? So I'm like, cool, the witches really kicked some butt in season 1 and 2. Guess what? We don't even see the witches fight nobody. They're up in the sky, but we don't see them do nothing. So I'm like, well, what's the point in them even being there? They're not even gonna fight nobody. We don't see nobody like going really fast, slicing and dicing. We don't see none of that. And then so like I'm like, okay, and you can't see the fairy people, so we don't know what the world they're doing. And we don't even know if the fairy people can even hurt an angel. But there are no human people on the bad side. It's just like it's like the fallen angels or whatever. So then the specters show up because Megatron has sent them from Cheddar Keys or whatever you call it into like that new world. And so then all of a sudden, we see the Spectres ripping up the human soldiers left and right. Now that part's really cool. I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. Now let's see how they're gonna kill him. So of course they keep shooting at the Spectres and nothing happens. And then so the bald-headed angel lady, she tells Marissa, we need you to like stop the Spectres and everything. So Marissa just goes all Neo and everything, she throws her hands up in the air and tells the Spectres to come to her, and then she blows them up somehow after she was able to control them. Still don't know how she's able to control the Spectres. Not sure how she was able to do the Neo move and everything. It's never explained, but now the Spectres are gone. I assume she was gonna redirect them and had them attack the angels, but no. And then, so while this is going on, Will and Laura meet Seraphina. She's all like, y'all need to get to y'all demons and get them to like a safe spot and blah, 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 and all this other crap. And, because they're waiting for you and, because y'all are apart and y'all have to be with your demons. That's part of the prophecy. So they open up a portal to like, the other world. So she went to go get the demons and tell the demons, hey, your humans need you, but Pan is still sad and pissed. Like he is pissed. He's all like, Lara left me and everything. Like he is pissed. And so we see Will's demon. It's that cat I told you about. It might be that, I don't think it's that same cat that led him to the portal in season 1. It might not even be the same cat he saw in Check E. Cheese or whatever. I think you have to be in Laura's world in order for like the demon to come. But anyways, he has his cat. And the CGI on the cat is actually kind of bad and everything. And so when they get into the other world, they see the general and he's all like, oh, you have a knife. You must be Will. You must be Lara. Come with me because Lord Asriel needs you. And Lara's all like, we don't have to go with you, and we don't like blah, 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 blah. She's still pissed at her dad. Ever so defiant. And so he's all like, but your demons up in the tower and blah, 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 blah. So they run all throughout, like, the woods and everything, trying to get back to the tower. Well, all of a sudden, there are like these weird demon things. They're kind of like flying squirrels, but with like demonic faces. And so they're trying to attack those people. I forget who kills them. It might be the soldiers. It might be, I don't think it's Seraphina. I don't know who gets rid of them, but somebody kills them. I think it might be the soldiers. So that's cool to get to see them. Oh, also, I assume Lara was gonna get like graceful wings and like, those vulture demons from the dead of the world to fight, but no, they don't even show up. So anyway, they're running back to get to the tower to get to the demons and stuff, right? And so like, oh, now I remember. So Megatron's just kind of like, I gotta end this, man, because this is getting on my nerves and stuff. And so he talks to the soldiers, and he's all like, what these people telling you is wrong. Like, if you side with me and get rid of these people, you can go to paradise and all this other stuff and blah, 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 stuff like that. So he's brainwashing them and they're turning against each other. And we see them line a bunch of them up for like execution and stuff. And so, but we don't even get to see them take any of them out. So I'm like, dude, where is this battle supposed to happen and stuff? And so Megatron is trying to convince Marissa, like, hey, how are you able to control the Spectre? See, even he don't know. So he makes a bridge of light for her to walk on. She tells her monkey, what to do. So she starts walking on like the bridge. And then Lord Asriel was like, what the heck is she doing? So he follows her in this big beam of light, and they're both been transported to the city of like heaven or whatever. And so she's talking to Megatron, and he is talking to Megatron as well, but Megatron disguised himself as Lord Asriel. And so he whoops on Lord Asriel and everything. And Lord Asriel's getting ready to die and all this other stuff. And he's trying to convince Marissa's all like, join me, be by my side and everything. We can rule the multiverse and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And he likes how evil she is. And she's like, yeah, I am, and stuff like that. So it really seems like she's really getting on Megatron's side and everything, right? Now, Megatron has made himself look human and stuff. from that of his angel form. And so they go to Lord Asriel, and Lord Asriel just started backing himself up, and because he's getting near the cliff of where the abyss is, the way he where that huge explosion went off, and like there's that abyss that's sucking up all the dust and everything, right? And so he has a weapon, but he can't get to it. And so next thing you know, Lara tries to talk to like her demon, and he's all like, "You left me," and everything. Like, look, dude, we gotta get y'all to safety. So Will opens up a portal and he sends them through. He sends them to where Mary is at. And so at some point we see the golden monkey, and Laura is kind of like, oh crap, because she knows that monkey's evil, so she knows her mom's around. Next thing you know, we see the monkey pull a lever. It activates a beam in the sky. That's the weapon that Lord Azrael was making. He wants to trap Megatron in the abyss and everything. And so while this is going on, we see like, him and Marissa actually didn't turn evil. She's just said that to like, trick Megatron. And so here comes the leopard, and he pushes them all into she pushes them all into like the abyss. So they sacrifice themselves to keep Lara safe and everything. And they fall in slow motion and everything. And you think Megatron would be able to probably like fly himself out of there or something, but nah. But then his home is getting ripped up by the energy beam and stuff. And I think maybe he might have got hit a little bit too. So then Lara, she reaches out to the golden monkey's hand, but he turns to dust. Meaning, and we also see the leopard turn to dust. So both Lara parents are now dead. Finally, like Marissa has got her comeuppings. I'm not sad about that at all. Now, as for Lord Azrael, kind of not. Like, he was cool to her as an uncle, but then after that, he just turned into like a butthead, and so he always seemed like he was uncaring and stuff. And he killed Roger, so he got his comeuppings too. So I'm not sad, to tell you the truth. Other people online are sad. I'm not sad. I'm just sad for Lara because she has nobody now. She has no parents and everything. And it's a really sad scene when we see the monkey die. Because the monkey is, for the most part, really nice and everything. It's just Mrs. Coulter, Marissa, who's like evil and everything. And so then all of a sudden, when Megatron is now in the abyss and trapped there, all of like the evil angels like disappear, like Phantom Menace style and everything. I'm just like, where they go? And then all of a sudden the sky turns back normal, and Will's like, woohoo, we won the battle. I'm just like, dude, Will, you didn't even do nothing. Lara didn't even do nothing. No, we didn't even see nobody do nothing. And it's just like, that's it. That's the stinking battle. I'm just kind of like, really? This is what I've been waiting for like 3 seasons? Just to see some dude fly around a machine and zap some angel, but we never get to see him get zapped. We don't even get to see angels fighting each other. We don't even get to see witches fight angels. We don't get to see people fight angels. We don't get to see people fight people. And we don't get to see demon fight. I'm like, what was the point in this? That battle in season 1 where the kids escaped that like fortress and everything with the Romanov people and the witches, that was cooler than this. So I feel like this was very, very underwhelming for a final battle and everything. Yeah, it had some nice moments here and there, don't get me wrong, but like it was just underwhelming. Like, I guess their budget went to make the special effects look good, but there was no real battle. I was so disappointed, 'cause that's what I really wanted to see. Well, Lara's all like, okay, let's get out of here. So they go to get their demons and stuff. And we don't see the, like, soldier people, like, no more and everything. And so then we get into the 8th episode, the very emotional one. And in this episode, basically, it's just Will and Lara. They're hanging out and they're looking for each other demons. And, it's gonna be kind of hard to find because Pan doesn't really want to see Lara right now. He's still pissed. And so, like, while they're there, like, they take a dip in, like, the pond. And, they basically just get down in their undergarments and stuff, checking each other out and everything. Cause they're like older looking 13-year-olds who are like really tall, who look like they're almost 18, because the Daphne King's about to turn 18 in like a couple of days and stuff. They don't look 13, man. So in a way, she starts talking to Will and they do that bonding thing and talking about how like she's a little sad her parents are gone, but in some ways she's kind of not. Like she doesn't understand why they abandoned her and all this other stuff. And 13 years later, wanted to be in her life, but she did feel sad like when they died and everything. And so they see the little monkey, not monkey, but the giraffe like elephant looking things. And they see they're like skateboarding again, which is so cool. So they start to follow them. And there they find Mary. So she's thrilled and happy to see Mary. And so Mary shows her like the amber spyglass and how it like has like the coconut oil and makes it see like dust and everything like that. The dust is like slowly now leaving the earth and everything still. It's not going as fast as it was before because that abyss has kind of been sealed up a little bit with Megatron in there. And Megatron's kind of making it go a little bit faster. And so like they realize something. Mary has more dust than like the teens do. And so that's because Mary, more dust has been attracted to her because she's older and everything. And so like while they're there, they just start talking and bonding and like everything like that. And trying to think something else. Oh, now I remember Father Garcia. He's on a special mission. He has been sent to kill Lara. Now, how is he able to pass through different dimensions? Don't know. It's never explained. Most likely he saw a rift open and he just went through it, but how did he know it would lead her there? So anyways, it's still also never explained how Mary Maloney is able to pass through worlds either. She has these weird sticks that are never explained. Oh wait, I almost forgot. After Megatron was killed, they see a cube and everything. And so Will cut into it, and then we see this shriveled up angel, and then it turns into dust and disappears. I had no idea who that is because they won't explain it in the show, and so I had to look it up online. This was the original like authority, the original first like good angel, whatever. Now it's going back into like the universe. It would have been nice if they would have explained that. Because I remember reading something that the person who created the show said that they wish they had more seasons to flesh out the third season characters more. So I'm assuming the third book is probably a little big and they just didn't have enough time to do it all in 8 episodes. But they did the best they could, but I bet there was a lot left out. Like when it comes to the Amber Spyglass, when you look at pictures online from the book, it's an actual spyglass. And so here it's just like a lens. So I'm just kind of like, that's unique in her thing. But it kind of would have been cool. She would have made like an amber, like an actual spyglass. And so like, Will is very shocked to find out that Mary used to be a nun of all things. And he asks like, why? And so Laura tries to use her alethiometer and it won't work. Serafina tells her, you have grown up, you have changed. This is all a part of life. You're the kid, you're the teenager, and then eventually become the adult. And everything changes after that. That's how it is in the real world. And this is what's happening to Laura. And she just does not want to accept this. Now she tells her, you're gonna have to learn how to reuse the alethiometer and everything like the adults do. But Laura is finally, for the first time, in love, and not only that, she has nobody back home. Her best friend dead. Her other friend Lee dead. Parents dead, and so she has nobody in that world. And Will, he just has his mom, and his mom is mentally ill. Dad dead. And so him and Laura can't be together. And it's so heartbreaking too. Like you don't want to see those two leave each other. And so when they go back to Laura's world, they sit on like the bench. And what's significant about this is that there's a bench in Will's world that's a different shade of color. It's lighter, hers is darker, and it's both to their Oxford University. And this is where they sat down in season 2 in Will's world. And Laura gives a very emotional, impactful speech. This was Daphne King's best performance in all of season 3. I don't know what's been going on with her in season 3 because I've always liked her acting. I liked it in Logan. I liked it in season 1 and 2. However, it's been very bland in season 3. A lot of emotional scenes. I can't talk. A lot of emotional scenes she should have had was just kind of like with a blank expression on her face, which is so odd. I've never seen that in her before. Like I've seen it like a little bit, but later on she'll change it up and everything. I don't know if it's because she's getting older and her acting's changing or like what. But in this episode, she gave a actual performance again. I was like, thank God, because I was like, what happened to your acting? And so it's a really, really, really nice monologue she gives him about how, like, no matter what world they're in, with each atom they have, they will always be together, like in each other's heart. It's like a really sappy, like lovey, like emotional speech. And she tells him, like, every year at the same day and the same time, we have to sit at this bench for a whole hour and like think about the other person and everything. And they cry and they kiss, and when they finna leave, like they run back to each other, split between worlds, hugging, embracing, just kissing each other. Like they don't want to say goodbye. And he tells Serafina, look after Laura because she has nobody. And Serafina's all like, I will treat her like a sister and everything. And we see Yorick, but he doesn't say or do nothing. It's just when the world was getting healed, we just see him walking around. It would have been nice to see him in the battle. And then one of the most touching, beautiful things happen in the end of the show. Oh, I almost forgot. So when Will gets back to his world, he's instructed to destroy the knife. So as he's trying to open the rift, he's trying to do what he did before that destroyed it. So somebody tells him it's either Mary or it's his demon tell him just think of Laura. So he started having images of her from like season 2. And then later on from season 3, and it's so painful that like he's able to break the knife because the knife is too powerful and they don't want nobody to like reopen up like, portals and stuff. Also, Mary gets her very own demon in the shape of a teeny tiny bird when she goes to Laura's world and everything. A year has passed and we see Laura and we see Will walking from their schools. And Laura's, she's still like a little bit older and everything, and she has her books and she has Pan, and she's just walking, by herself. She has nobody. And then she sits down on the bench and Will sits on the bench. And what the director did was that they split the screen. So we see both versions of Oxford at the bench, the two different benches and the weird like split screen. And they're both just sitting there year after year after year, just kind of like looking in the opposite side, thinking of the other person. Then they both put each other hands down, pretend like they're touching the other person. It's heartbreaking. It's emotional. And it was very well done. We saw her got to be a little lady, wearing skirts and dresses because she doesn't like doing that. And then it ends with like a description saying that like Will went to medical school, then became a surgeon. Lara was able to use the alethiometer again, and her pan went on many, many adventures again. And that's the story for another time. And it would be great if they were to create like a sequel series, a spin-off series, like showing those like adventures. And I liked how they showed year after year after year until they turned 18 instead of casting like older people to do it. Because she even tells them, like, even if, like, we meet other people and everything, like, don't be rude to them, be kind to them. Even though they love each other, they have to move on eventually. And that's so heartbreaking because in the real world, you have to do that too. Nothing is forever, and people break up, and some people don't see each other no more. Some people are distant from each other. And eventually in life, you have to move on, whether you want to or not. And I just love the way it ended because it was so touching. And so that kind of like made up for that lackluster battle that they had. I still couldn't believe how lackluster it was. And when you look back and see how the cast have changed and grown and aged, it's like, man, this is like a real like epic journey they went through. And it all started with like a man who wanted to stop like this like entity that will not give them free will. But you gotta stop and think about it like this. Yes, Megatron was the bad guy, but was he really? Because think about it. We've never seen Megatron or the Angels interfere in nobody's life until Azrael decided to bust a hole in the sky and decide he's gonna fight this dude, all because he wants free will and all this other stuff and doesn't want nobody controlling them, aka religion. So for the most part, Megatron was really just minding his own business until Lord Asriel just busted that hole in the sky and went to war with him and everything. And it just went from that to a little girl looking for her friend and trying to escape her crazy mother and kids dying and everything and like, bopping around from world to world, talking to polar bears, getting this magical knife, and it was an epic journey for a little girl who got thrust into this when she was prophesized from the beginning and everything. And for her to grow up into like this lovely adult like woman and just like, have to come to grips with reality and life, whether or not she wants to or not. Like she went from a little girl and turned to like a young lady and everything in the course of really a couple of months. And most people had to do it in a couple of years, but she had to do it in a couple of months and stuff. And it's really sad to know that these two spent like years and years and the rest of their lives like apart. Will, of course, got to see his mom again, and that was nice and everything. But like, it would have been nice to see him interact with his demon more. Because we really don't know much of nothing about her. And she rarely talks in this thing. So, for the most part, third season is pretty good. It was really interesting, climactic at times. I just wish that final battle was as good as season one's like battle with like, the kids escaping and everything. But, I mean, even Will fighting like, Lord Carlo, even that was more epic than this final battle. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.